Hey guys, I don't know if anybody from Just Alex or JD from NY206 or Solomonster or anybody has brought this up yet. But last night it was announced and made official that Bray Wyatt, as the Fiend, would be defending his championship at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia against Goldberg. Now, a lot of people are excited about this because this is a first time matchup. And it's basically something that really makes you wonder what direction will they go. Because as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, it's the irresistible force versus the immovable object. And you could look at that, in either manner. You know, because the one thing about the Fiend that we know of, throughout his history, Bray Wyatt's short history as the Fiend, that is that when you think you got him down, he just bounces back up like nothing happened. You want a good example of that, I should say. You want a good example? Take a look at the closing moments of his match with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble. I mean, that right there tells you that no matter what you do to this guy, it doesn't affect him. Now, one has to question though, as great of an idea as this match is, you have to ask yourself, did WWE do it again? And what I mean by do it again, did WWE basically back themselves into a corner? Because you see, last year, a lot of people pointed out that WWE had backed themselves into a corner when they took, at the time, a babyface Seth Rollins, who was the Universal Champion at that time, and placed him in a Hell in a Cell match against the Fiend for the championship. And here was the thing. WWE at that time was trying to get Seth over as a babyface, but they were also trying to get the Fiend over as a top, unbeatable heel. So a lot of people had pointed out, fans, people in WWE, insiders of wrestling and all that, various insiders that is, pointed out that WWE had backed themselves into a corner and they were not ready to take the belt off of Seth. Because, for Bray Wyatt as the Fiend, it was his second match under the Fiend persona. So it's like they were not ready to go that route. But they knew eventually they were going to have to, which is why we were brought to Saudi Arabia to the Falls Count Anywhere match, where the Fiend did actually win. But here's the thing though. The Fiend winning the Universal Championship in Saudi Arabia, everybody thought, okay, he won it at the Crown Jewel event. I think that's what it was. So he's going to end up losing it again, right? He's going to end up losing it probably on the following Raw. That didn't happen. He ended up keeping it. And he's kept it ever since. But now, again, the question is, did WWE do it again to themselves? Because you're bringing in Goldberg as the next challenger. You basically have someone like Brock Lesnar on the same card. And according to people like JD, both are very good friends. And both could have some pull, one for the other or whatever. You have to wonder if WWE is going to do what a lot of people feel they should wait to at least WrestleMania to do. And that's have Goldberg beat the Fiend. Because right now, rumor is, the sources reporting these rumors have said that Roman Reigns is the one handpicked to go over the Fiend at Mania. Or is he? Is he the one? People have to wonder that. Because, Roman Reigns may be slated to face the Fiend or slated to get a Universal Championship match, but it doesn't mean he's going to be the one to face it doesn't mean, I should say, that he's going to face the Fiend. Because who knows? It might be him against Goldberg and it's a passing of the torch. You know what I mean? It's like Undertaker passed, the torch of, the ring being his yard over to Roman. So you have to wonder if maybe Goldberg going up against the Fiend and probably winning the title and facing Roman at Mania could be a way of saying, okay, Roman's going to get the torch passed to him from Goldberg as being that dominant, no nonsense like individual that basically points to his opponent and says, "You're the next on my list." So who knows? Who can really say? Because everybody is saying that Goldberg being brought in is just for a payday, and he understands that he's got to put the Fiend over, and it would make sense. You have the Fiend go over someone like Goldberg, and he's basically made more than he's ever been. But then again, you also have a money issue. And then, like I said, you have potential pull backstage. So it makes you wonder, what direction will they go in? Because as I said, rumor is Roman Reigns is supposed to face Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship and be the one that beats him. But then again, there's also rumors going around that The Undertaker is slated to face The Fiend. And if it's for the Universal Championship, that doesn't really make sense to a lot of people unless you're going to let The Undertaker win the title and then retire on top. The same could be said for Sting if they decide to maybe put Sting in that scenario. So, WWE right now has booked themselves, in my opinion, in another corner because, yes, it's the right business decision for Goldberg to put over The Fiend, just like Goldberg put over The Undertaker, even though he didn't have to one of the last times they were in Saudi Arabia. And it should have been best for business, as much as people may disagree with it, that he should have put over someone like Dolph Ziggler, but it was the other way around. So, when one thinks about it, you have to wonder if WWE did it again to themselves. Because, yes, the one way they may decide to go is to put The Fiend over Goldberg, but then again, you have the backstage pool of people close to Goldberg maybe wanting it to go another way, and you have the Saudi prince with all the money he's shilling out, probably wanting it to go that same way as well. So who's to say? And who's to? Come on, because when you think about it, WWE always wants to make WrestleMania a big, big deal, and they know, because I talked about this last night. They go off reactions. And whether or not the decision is the right decision to make, they're going to go by that reaction to said decision. And they realize that fans right now are reacting to Roman Reigns in a very mixture way again. And they don't want, the fans booing Reigns because, he's this conquering hero that once again has overcome cancer. So what do you do? What do you do about that? And, do you have him go over The Fiend, which would get him a lot of heat, or do you have him go over somebody that pretty much he can have a short but decent match with, powerhouse-like match, Hoss-like match, and basically, once again, have the torch in a way passed to him by another legend as saying, you are the guy, without getting him booed? You have to wonder. And when you think about it as well, the Fiend against the other rumored match for Mania, Fiend against Undertaker, it could be a passing of the torch too. Like, you could have the Fiend go over the Undertaker, and basically, just like the Undertaker had the Phenom torch passed to him from Superfly Jimmy Snuka at WrestleMania 7, as a lot of people would point out, you could have basically that same scenario here where the Phenom torch could be passed to the Fiend. Because the Fiend is kind of like a modern, more horrific version, horror-wise version of The Undertaker. The fact that you can beat him down, he just gets back up. So, it makes you really wonder, because it's like, even me right now doing this uncut and unscripted, it really makes you think, did WWE do it again? Because, you're having two individuals that are looked at as an irresistible force and an immovable object, either way, going up against each other, and you would think, okay, Goldberg knows what he has to do. He has to put this guy over. Put him over and be like the only guy that he could not beat, because you need to have something like that for a guy like Goldberg. Or do you ruin the prestige of the Fiend, the majesty of the Fiend, the mysticness of the Fiend? Because again, the one thing, and I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this moments ago or earlier, the one thing about these Saudi shows is lately a lot of stuff you would think they would say for in-state pay-per-views, happen on their shows. Like Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement to team up with Triple H. The Fiend winning the Universal Championship. These are moments that have happened in Saudi Arabia at these shows that should have been saved for in-state pay-per-views. Pay-per-views like, let's say, SummerSlam or Survivor Series or WrestleMania. But yet, they are given and they are taking place. What I'm trying to say is they take place. Instead of taking place here, they end up taking place on these Saudi shows, which nobody really watches. And if they do, they have to watch it on replay. Because sometimes these shows take place when people are working, basically. Like when the 27th comes around, there's no doubt I'll be working that day. And it's going to take place by the time I start work. It's like, what is what is WWE thinking when it comes to this? And along the lines, what are they thinking by having a lot of these moments that have happened take place, doing these shows? It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, if WWE is going to do the one thing that they should be saving for Mania. And that's have somebody go with a Fiend and beat him for the Universal Championship. I mean, yeah, it does set up a scenario where it's the torch passing match again with Goldberg and Reigns. But you have to wonder. And, it does open the door for Fiend and Undertaker. But again, you have to wonder. Is WWE putting themselves in another corner that they can't get out of? I'm just checking something there. But are they putting themselves in a corner that they can't, get out of? It makes you wonder that. It makes you think that. And we'll just have to wait and see. Because, it's like, what do you do? Do you have the Fiend lose by disqualification? That way, it doesn't make Goldberg look weak or anything? Is that the direction you go? The Fiend's going up against Goldberg, knowing that Goldberg is unlike anybody he's faced, and now he's got no choice but to get himself disqualified? Is that the direction you go? I don't know. I don't know. So you gotta wonder, did they do it to themselves again? Did WWE do it to themselves again and book themselves into another corner? I wonder. I wonder if they did. And you know what? I say this with all due respect. Maybe you guys, fellow YouTubers and fans, maybe we all have to wonder that. Maybe we should all ask ourselves, did they do it again? Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I am out.